Hello friends, so in the series of case studies regarding sustainable transportation systems, today we will discuss about sustainability aspects of airports. We have already discussed BRTS, Bus Rapid Transit System, and then MRTS, Mass Rapid Transit System, and this is airports, which is also again mass transit system in a sense, because millions of passengers are using these days airports for traveling from one city to another city within the country or in different countries. So, this is the contents list of this lecture, like what is the need of sustainable airports, because any kind of transportation system we want them to be sustainable because of their different kind of impacts. If impacts are very harmful, if they are beyond certain limits, then they are not sustainable. So, we have to look on those issues, and environmental impacts of every kind of transportation system we have been discussing. So, for airports also we will discuss what are environmental impacts and in what way different airports are addressing those issues. So, in the parallel of environmental impacts, we will also see how sustainability is measured for different airports, like different rating systems or ranking systems are there for sustainability attributes, and what are the features of sustainable airports, how do we define whether this is sustainable or not, and then the best practices examples we will look into of different airports which are most sustainable in comparison to other airports. So, why the need of sustainable airports? Very simple reason, because they are the vital local or national economic engines, you can say, because lot of goods is transported through airports, and passengers are also using these airports for travelling across the world. Then they can create significant environmental impacts, because huge amount of fuel is burnt for providing energy to all these aircrafts. Okay, then there are certain environmental impacts which are common of any kind of transportation system, like air, water or noise emissions, and then land use, land planning, energy consumptions. So, over the 2500 airports worldwide and around 4 billion annual passengers are using these airports in total. So, the huge impact can be there on all components of the environment. So, we have to see the impact of these airports on the environmental attributes. Then what are the benefits? Means, of course, they contribute in the economy as goods are transported, passengers are transported. So, lot of constructive role is there in economics, but also at the same time there are like risk in terms of their negative impacts. So, we have to see what are the balances between kind of risk benefit analysis or risk or gains analysis, you can say. If we want to see the environmental impacts in totality, so like congestion in nearby areas, because if feeder system is not good, if approaching roads are not good, then when at the peak hours when people are travelling towards airports or they are going from airport to their destination. So, in nearby areas there may be congestion, and again the congestion results into lot of fuel burning, emissions and deterioration of air quality, and of course, economic loss because of fuel burning. Then waste handling, because wherever human activities are there at a particular center in a concentrated way. So, lot of waste will also be generated. There will be so many facilities for restaurants or these restrooms, etc. So, whether it is liquid waste or solid waste, there will be several waste streams. So, we have to handle those waste streams in a proper way. Land use by airports, huge land is required because several kilometers for air traffic, parking as well as runways, and then there are godowns or warehouses, and then hangars for the airports. So, many facilities, okay, and these arrivals or departure joints and all those dimensions are there for complete airport station. Noise emissions. So, because jet engines create lot of noise. So, again as I think in one particular lecture we discussed that sometimes because of noise, properties near to airports do not pick up in prices, and people do not like to live in nearby areas because there is a lot of disturbance in daily life. Okay. Then emissions from like fuels or de-icing activities in cold countries, and so de-icing activities can pollute drains and also water sources. And then air and land emissions because of flight operations, and then buses or those other feeder systems, all those contribute into air quality related emissions. Well, if you see the key infrastructures of an airport, we can divide them into like terminals, and then that means airside area, like where aircrafts are there parked, and then passengers go inside or they come out, and then there is runway, right. And land side area where lot of facilities are there for parking, and then the waste handling or energy generation, and water wastewater treatment, all those things are there for land side areas. You can see beyond terminal, I mean terminal is the bridge between this land side and air side areas, you can say. Then there are several rating systems for seeing whether it is sustainable or not, and there are two most popular and oldest kind of time tested ranking systems or rating systems, and these are, one is LEED, that is leadership in energy and environmental design, and another one is BREEAM, that is building research establishment environmental assessment method. So, these are the two very popular rating systems, so that we will discuss in detail. Okay. Then there are the benefits of rating system. Why do we go for rating system? Okay, because they give us an idea, some sort of idea whether a good rating system is there, then we can visualize that that particular airport should be good in terms of handling waste and reducing environmental impacts, etc. So, what are those different aspects or dimensions in terms of benefits, like increased accountability and public recognition, because better rating, perception is good, people will see in a very good eyes that okay, this airport is managed very nicely, right. Then basis of financial incentives, because if airports are providing good services, they have good rating, more people will feel incentive to use those airports. If there are not good facilities, then people will refrain to use it continuously, they may go for another alternative transportation system or alternative airports. Then long term viability assurance, because if that particular airport is continuously getting good rating, so the long term viability in terms of investment, in terms of viability of financial incentives, etc., would be there. Environmental stewardship, that means it will give an idea that environment is taken care of properly. Okay. Quality assurance is also there, that overall quality means of the services, of other kind of related activities, the quality is assured in terms of good rating. Well, when we see this particular LEED rating system, so it is of course most widely recognized green building certification system in the world. So, means many countries in many organizations, institutions, establishments are using this particular system, and this is developed by US Green Building Council. Another one is from Europe, we will see in the next slide, and they provides an overall framework, like if it is healthy environment, if it is efficient or it is cost effective green building design is there or not, construction activities have been taken care of in terms of better facilities for laborers, as well as less emissions in the construction activities, and then operation and maintenance practices are good or bad, means it is quickly provided or not, then complaints are addressed very quickly and effectively or not. Then there are some key areas of evaluation in this system, like location and transport, energy and atmosphere, material flows, resources, water efficiency, okay, and what is the site sustainability is there or not, and then indoor environmental qualities parameter are also discussed and used for this. And how it is represented? It is represented in a very nice manner, or attention catching manner, like if points are like 40 to 49 points in that checklist, so it is called as certified, LEED certified, right. If points are more like 50 to 59, then it is a LEED silver certification, right. And the next one is for 60 to 79, that is the gold, and the platinum is 80 plus points. So, these kind of 4 tier certification rating system is there in the LEED. Well, the another parallel system which was produced by UK Building Research established, that is the BREEAM, right. This is also used quite widely, and particularly European countries they use it frequently, and it is in 10 categories and 71 criteria it includes. So, it is quite comprehensive, you can say. Well, the key areas here for evaluation are management and the materials, health and the well-being, waste. Several common are there in the LEED and this BREEAM rating system: energy, transport, water, pollution or innovation. Innovation is a good parameter here, means continuous improvement is there or not, and then the land use and ecological aspects. And this is the way, this is the example that stars will be there. So, one can easily see whether it is 5 star or 4 star or 3 star, 2 star, and 1 star just pass. So, 1 to 5 star rating or levels are there in this BREEAM certification system. Okay, then we come to those features, those important aspects of sustainability in terms of the airports. So, what are those? Like energy and GHG emissions, means we will judge according to the energy consumption. If lot of energy intensive activities are there, then the airport may be kind of not so good, right. Similarly, greenhouse gas emissions, if it is much more, then again it is not good sign. But if some measures are being taken by the airport authorities and the greenhouse gas emissions are being reduced, energy consumption is being reduced over the period of time, then we can say that this airport is moving towards sustainable growth. Well, then community, employee, passenger well-being, whether they are taken care of properly or not. So, this is also one part of sustainability, because if working conditions are not good, then people may not feel happy there, and slowly the good people whose market value is more, whose employability is more, they will shift from this place to another airport, and then the airport will lose the good people. So, again this is a kind of vicious cycle, and the more bad services, more losing good people, and that way it is a downside movement. Water quality, storm water handling, all those facilities are there or not. Then ground access and connectivity, means if there are no good feeder system or last mile connectivity is not good at the airport, then again this is a problem, because to reach to the airport or from the airport to go to railway station or bus station or to some other mode of transport, if there is not good connectivity, then it is a problem, that will really reduce its chances towards sustainability. Natural resources, whether we are conserving natural resources, we are using them in a good manner, or we are harming them, these are the again most important aspects. Water conservation, air quality, all those things, noise abatement is there or not. Resiliency means if something bad happens, then again whether quickly it adjusts to the good quality standard. Materials, waste management, recycling, all those aspects are the features or important features of sustainability in case of airports. Well, now we look into different good practices. So, from world over we have taken a few examples of those airports which are known for its good services, and they are kind of ranked high in their quality operations. So, the Boston BOS, Boston Logan International Airport in the US, this is the first airport to be LEED accredited or credited. So, this system was applied here and it got very good ranking in that way. And what are those aspects which helped it to get LEED certification? Because it has like there are lights which are self dimming, means if people are not using that area, that will dim, and if some people approach, then sensors will be there, they will automatically switch on the needful lights, and heat reflecting roofs and windows, so that it does not capture more heat. If more heat capture or absorption is there, then we will need more air conditioning system. So, load will be there, more power consumption will be there. So, if we have those kind of material which can reflect the heat, then it is an advantage. So, this kind of system is there in this BOS airport. Storm water filtration. So, the storm water handling has another aspect, means it is not only to put it away from the these facilities, but also filter them properly and maybe recycling or reuse. Then water efficient plumbing and irrigation system is there, because there are facilities which need water. So, those kind of facilities they have incorporated. Energy efficient electric lighting at public places or walking streets, etc. Construction waste recycling and use of recycled local material, they have been used in a big way. So, this is one positive aspect of this airport. Then paints or those carpets and adhesives, all these they sometimes use, rather most of the times these kind of chemicals use VOCs, or they emit volatile organic compounds. So, in this particular airport they have kept this, they have they have been very careful to use those kind of adhesives or paints which emit very less VOCs. Okay. Then low flow waterless urinals, etc., those kind of facilities are available these days. They are expensive initially, but later on the operational cost is quite optimum. Here you see very interesting data, like energy use intensity per square foot of the area and energy use per passenger. So, you can see this reduction is there around 25 to 26% in between 2004 and 2017. So, that means good practices are being adopted there. At the same time, you can see number of passengers in millions are rising, but greenhouse gas emissions per passenger is decreasing. That means those services are there, although the load is more people are using those particular facilities and services, but they have maintained in such a way that the emissions per person is reducing. So, 46% reduction is there between this 2002 to 2017. Similarly, reduced building energy use intensity is also there over the years from 2007 to 2019. So, these are the indicators which shows that they have used those kind of technology and practices which are helping them to achieve like less energy and better services. Similarly, greenhouse gases are emitted in a like decreasing trend over the years, from the building energy systems. Similarly, like air emissions of VOCs. So, it was very high in 90s, but later on they used those kind of materials and practices and technology which emitted very less VOCs, and here also you can see that this increasing trend from 2018 to 2019 can be accounted for 5% increase in flight operations. So, there is a slight increase, but because flight operations are also increasing, more services are there, more passengers are being handled at that airport. So, that is a very nominal increase, that is not a big increase or jump. VOC emissions means volatile organic compounds emissions 2018-19, it is almost similar, there is no much change, only like 60, 36, 59, 37. So, there is only the change in the sector of 1, but the total is not very high change. Similarly, these reduced PM10 or PM2.5, that fine particle emissions are again they are also reducing. So, those kind of good practices are there, and you see this CO emissions means all, whether particulate emissions or carbon monoxide emissions or greenhouse gas emissions, every kind of emission is being reduced, various services of usage of passengers or the operations, they are increasing. So, that is a good sign. Noise control related methodologies are there and they have put in place in a nice way. So, the insulation system which is being shown here in a graphical way, they have put in place, and then permanent noise monitoring stations are also there. So, that data can be analyzed and timely some measures can be implemented if at a particular location more noise is occurring. Well, when we talk about waste recycling, so waste recycling is also increasing every year. So, more water is being recycled every year. Then if you see this green spaces in this particular airport, so that is also spread in a quite large area. So, over 33 acres spread over 3.3 miles. So, this is occupied by green area. So, that is again environment friendly approach, and the public transport accessibility. So, it is very nicely linked with other public transportation systems. So, that is why this connectivity of different modes of transport is nicely networked. Similarly, these feeder buses or express buses are there to take passengers from airport to other mode of transport and forth and back. Alternate fuel vehicle fleet operations, because when hybrid buses are there, then they are emitting less amount of greenhouse gases or air pollutants. So, those kind of buses or CNG, and nowadays electric buses and electric battery operated many kind of vehicle categories are put in place in these public places. Okay. Then high capacity parking facilities are there, so that these vehicles do not move here and there, they just park and they access the airport. Similarly, high capacity parking facilities have increased over the years. So, you can see these commercial spaces, employees spaces, in service commercial spaces. So, the increasing trend is there. That means, when more passengers are accessing, the more facilities are there. At the same time, non motorized vehicles or bicycles and those kind of healthy modes of the transport, they are being encouraged for the public. So, the bicycle parking facility is also there if somebody wants to park it, if they are living in nearby areas, and means people come there to work and they can use bicycles also, right. Then there are sustainable measures in terms of energy saving dynamic glasses, which can use energy as like some glasses are heat reflecting, and then according to the weather they also change colors because of some crystal mechanism. Those kind of advanced glasses are also available nowadays. Well, when we talk about Zurich airport, okay, so some green initiatives at the Zurich airport also includes like glass facades, climate buffers, as I said, related to weather system, rainwater collection, photovoltaic plants, all those less energy or more renewable sources of energy utilization, noise managements, okay, all these things are there in this particular airport. That is why lot of green initiatives are there, and as a result you can see the reduced CO2 emissions. So, over the years if there is a trend analysis from 97 to this 2019, you can see the overall trend is the decreasing trend. So, that means they are handling properly, though the operations are increasing, passengers are increasing, but the emissions of carbon dioxide is decreasing. So, 1997 to 2019, see around 48,000 tons and 25,000 tons. So, this is the difference between those years. Reduction in NOx emissions has also achieved, because as you know NOx emissions or these emissions have precursors of ozone, as well as they also contribute to acid rain, etc. So, they are harmful, and their reduction is a good sign in terms of air pollution management or air pollution control. Well, noise mapping has been there, and insulation related activities are taken care of. So, during landing and takeoff routes, and those sound insulation areas, they have been managed in a way that wherever source of noise is most is there, then those particular areas can be insulated more profoundly. Well, photovoltaic plants have been used for generating electricity and using the solar energy. So, very high amount like 16-17 megawatt hour and energy is being produced by these photovoltaic cells or plants. Wastewater treatment. Okay. So, the wastewater treatment during de-icing, that particular plant has also been used at that airport, and you can see the reduction in amount of collected runoff from the de-icing operations. Okay. So, waste, untreated and the treated. So, the treated waste is increasing, okay, untreated is decreasing. That means, again the capacity has been increased to treat the waste water. Okay. There are climate buffers in this good glasses are being used, special glasses are being used and double glasses, so that if even negative temperature is there outside, it will not affect the interior temperature. So, those kind of this air cushion is being used between two walls, those kind of practices are being used. In Netherlands, this Amsterdam airport, this also rated by LEED Gold and then BREEAM Excellent, that kind of rating system that has achieved. And you see why it is so, you can see the reduced CO2 emissions and energy efficiency. Okay. It has like -18% CO2, means it has reduced, and energy efficiency has also been achieved. Well, then there are around 50% of the residual flows from airport, these waste, means earlier it was only 28%, now it has increased to 50%. So, that much of residuals of the waste is being handled at the source, segregation being achieved. When we look in Indian context, then also there are good airports like Hyderabad, Rajiv Gandhi International Airport, Hyderabad. This is having green status airport, and around it has achieved 25% savings in energy consumption and 30% savings in water usage, and 100% wastewater is being used for several purposes like landscaping or air conditioning and flushing of the toilets, etc. So, you can see all these greenery are being irrigated by this recycled water, and energy efficiency is achieved by good glass construction, because lighting is there, you do not need much interior light if daylight is coming inside, and then insulated walls and roofs are there, then the weather does not affect the interior temperature, etc. So, that is a good way of managing energy systems. Well, then what are different measures or means for sustainability of this Hyderabad airport? So, you can see like soil conservation and 100% rainwater harvesting, 100% grey water treatment from those our facilities, common facilities, then fresh air management, 23% energy saving. Okay, it is being achieved in terms of air conditioning system in a better way management. Okay, material flow, recycled content, housekeeping chemicals, all those things have been properly inventory has been prepared, and where they can save the chemicals or where they can save the energy, those kind of management system has been in place. Well, in terms of energy conservation, solar panels have been used, and these lighting from solar power is being used quite in a large way, large scale. So, again when we are not using the lighting system from the electricity generated by fossil fuels, we are using from the solar energy, that is a big achievement towards the sustainable energy resources usage. Well, wastewater reuse and recycle has been achieved because rainwater harvesting is there and sewage treatment plant is there, and they are functioning in an optimum way. You see this wastewater reuse and recycle, that is also managed properly, and so means no wastewater is just discarded, that is completely used at the airport, and some composting, and then the means there is no use of chemical fertilizers. All these greenery is maintained, landscaping etc., they are maintained by the compost, which is because of the treatment of the waste which is generated there only, organic waste etc. So, those kind of best practices have been adopted in that particular airport. The next is Indira Gandhi International Airport at New Delhi. So, this is 8th largest terminal in the world and the largest building under one roof. This has that kind of ranking across the world, and first carbon neutral airport in Asia Pacific region, that goes to this IGI airport. LEED gold certified, okay, this is then this IGBC platinum certified, and world number 1 airport in terms of service quality. So, there are different ways of ranking airports. So, in service quality it has got the number 1 category or ranking, and at global level this is the first airport which got this ISO 5001 certification for several other services. Sustainable measures at IGI Terminal 3, which is the biggest terminal, you can see there are so many counters, so there is no crowd, and then 78 aero bridges, 3 runways, so congestion possibility is not there. And then integration of feeders system and efficiency in terms of reduction of air pollution emissions. Battery operated vehicles are quite large in number. Then sewage treatment plant is there for around 17 MLD capacity. Okay. Solar photovoltaic plant is also there, and then water treatment plant for 5 MLD capacity is also there, plus rain water harvesting and water management systems. All those systems are there in IGI airport. Similarly, you can see this 300 rainwater harvesting stations within that territory, 100% natural lighting in departure floor. That is a good design, wonderful design in that. So, 95% construction waste sold for recycling. So, no wastage for landfill etc., it has been sold for some other uses. Waste to wealth you can call this, stormwater drains to control erosion, sedimentation. So, again the proper design is there, it is not just like open drain etc. 215 electric charging stations, okay, these kind of facilities are there. Then landscaping using recycled sewage treatment plants water, that is treated effluent, and eco-friendly biodegradable housekeeping is achieved, as we have seen in the case of Hyderabad also. Well, best airport for passenger service quality in the world, that tag is to this IGI airport. So, it was ranked in that way, and several ranking systems is there, and it is over the years rather it is providing good quality and sustaining that best practice in terms of service quality. Climate change and GHG management, means greenhouse gas related managements have been there properly, and reduction of emissions have been observed over the years. So, again this indicates that good practices are there, good technologies are there. So, see here energy management is good, energy consumption is decreasing in terms of per passenger, kilowatt hour per passenger. So, again means passengers are increasing, but means energy management is in such a way that it is becoming less intensive, and per person consumption of energy is decreasing over the years. Waste paper recycling is increasing, that means good again practices for collecting and transporting for their better disposal. So, those kind of facilities are in place. Similarly, if we give an overall view, so the reduced water consumption, increased water reusage and reduction in water losses, okay, and then there are integrated water management systems, or rainwater recharge is increasing, storage is increasing. So, 300 rainwater harvesting structures have been constructed, 5 MLD water treatment plant is there, spill management is there, water efficient storm water management is there. All these things really go towards best practices of water management. Similarly, for noise mitigation, there are measures they have taken, and these fixed electrical ground power unit to minimize the noise level. So, those kind of things have been in place. You see beautifully landscaped this area of terminal 3. So, that uses those recycled water and treated from their sewage treatment plants, treated water that is used for this. And in other aspects like ISO management system or green infrastructure program, green company framework, compliance verification program, all those best practices are there at IGI terminal 3. So, in conclusion we can say that there is lot of opportunity for these airports where lot of movement of goods and passengers are there. So, in construction activities, in their designing and then operation, from planning to operation, those kind of levels or stages, all kind of best practices if we are using, then good ranking or good rating can be achieved by those airports, and they are known for their sustainable work practices. Similarly, some kind of excellence aspirations are there, because they compete with each other in terms of service quality and environmental implications. So, those things are used by experts, and they use these expert services for achieving good environmental practices. So, huge environmental benefits are reaped by these practices, and perception also increases, good perception also increases. So, more people come to use the services of that airport. So, this is a kind of win-win situation in terms of attracting the people, and also giving good services to the country and to the society in terms of very less or minimum impact on the environment. So, achieving the sustainability aspects or sustainability growth of the public transportation system in terms of airports. These are the references for different features which we have discussed in this lecture. You can go in detail whenever you have time. So, thank you again for your attention, and that way we have covered 3 case studies of BRTS, MRTS, and now of the airports. Thank you again.